Hi guys. So today we will talk about how we can effectively apply the technology to the real world problem. So today we'll see what are the different Sigma rules for applying technology. So do watch this video till end because the last rule is quite important. So let's move on to the first Sigma rule of applying any technology. Not necessarily it should be software technology, it can be a mechanical thing, electrical thing, all electronics thing as well. So to apply a specific technology for a real world problem, the first Sigma rule is be a victim. Always, like, be a part of a process where we identify the problems. It's not that someone else told you and it's not your own experience, and if it is not possible to actually experience that thing, just try to collect data from the people who actually experience that problem. So first identify a problem, which means always be a victim or in the shoes of victim. So once you do that, we will move to second Sigma rule, which is basically drafting a perfect solution with risks and assumptions, I would say. Because when we assume something while doing a particular project or while implementing a specific technology, so at that time that is the assumption. But when you go to the version number 2, you can convert that assumption to a add-on part to the particular software, right? So always while designing or while drafting your solution to solve that real life problem using a technology, will always include a risk. What are the risks if I choose this technology to solve this real life problem, right? So the risks are there, so write it down. And what are the assumptions on which basis you are actually implementing this technology, so that end user will be actually using that to fulfill or to resolve the real life problems. So third Sigma rule after these two rules are designing like a pro. So what does it mean, like a pro? So what it always means that you should be pro in writing or designing that particular solution, because that should cover all the topics. For example, it should include 10 different features, so you should know what are the 10 different features when you are designing itself, right? So you should include everything related to that particular solution, and it should always resolve all the specific issues that you found as a requirement to design this solution, which will in future gets implemented and end user will use it, right? So this design should be very much clear, precise, so you should be pro in designing, right? So next and fourth Sigma rule will be agile implementation. Once the design is done, right? So once the draft is done, once you know what technology stack you are going to use, where and what and how you already know, then actual implementation starts. So this involves in software phases like you can say it's a development phase, testing phase, quality assurance phase. Even in case of manufacturing department, the same kind of phases are there. In case of electronics, in case of electrical equipments, right? So everywhere implementation comes after design. Once you start implementation, try to make it agile. Don't keep it like you always gather a requirement, design on it, and then take way too much time for implementation. Meanwhile, something else come into market, client distracts from actual requirement, then client knows that this is outdated, right? So the client feedback will be quite late. In case of other models, always be an agile developer. Agile implementation will always resolve most of the issues in the phase pipeline, initial pipeline itself. So you don't need to wait till deployments and end user interaction. So that should have enough bandwidth in implementation phase itself. So that's why the next point, which is very important, which is our fifth point, will come into picture, which is feedback. So I told that last point is quite important, because unless and until you get feedback from the customer, you cannot improve your product. So this applies to this particular discussion, which is related to technology. When you are applying a technology to solve a real life problem, you should always encourage your end user, encourage your customer to provide feedback in sprints if you are working in agile, or at least frequently, so that you can work on those feedbacks. If those are negative, you need to add or remove some features of your deployment or development, or that could be a positive feedback which will encourage you to do whatever you were doing, right? So the feedback is the fifth rule. So if we consider any specific example, suppose let's say banking, right? So in a few years ago, if I want to withdraw money, so I need to go to bank, which is nearest branch. I'll take a physical token, and then I'll be in a queue, go to that particular person who will give me cash, and then take that cash and come to home, right? So nowadays this is not a problem, but few years ago that was a problem. So if we consider this is a problem that I am a victim of, right? So I'm also a victim, I faced this issue. Then solution will be, there should be some mechanical device, electromechanical device, including software, which can give money when I specifically been authenticated with some password, and I have something to carry with which has electronic data which will identify me as a customer, and then once it is verified, it will give me money. So this is a solution, we can say, right? So what are the risks? So risks are basically security mainly, because we should keep that money in the machine secure. That was the risk. And then what are the assumption is like everyone who has bank account should also has some card using which the machine can authenticate you and provide cash to you, right? And then PIN and everything will come into picture. So those can be considered as risks and assumption. And then what was our solution, right? So solution is like having a machine. Then if we design, we will come up with some technology stack, which is like there should be a software program running on a machine, right? Which prompts you something, and you just taps on screen and providing the inputs, and the output will be a message as well as cash, right? So that is the solution that we design in this case. And next part is agile, right? So initially that machine will be only used to withdraw money, and then the customer might came to you, like one of the bank might came to you and say, yeah, I don't only want to withdraw money, I want to check my balance. So then they might have added a new feature to check balance, then PIN changing, then maybe KYC. So all features added in incremental way, we can say. And feedback, if you say, so every time a consumer is a banking customer, and actual bank who will be using that machines, those can incorporate this feedback to the development company, and based on that they can apply technology to tackle this real life problem. So this can be the example. In software itself, we have a lot of examples where we can apply technology to real world problems, and that's what we are currently doing. And I encourage you to do so by using our 5 Sigma rules, right? First was identifying the problem, next is drafting a proper solution, then designing a solution like a pro, then agile implementation, and last one is getting a feedback at right time and very frequently is very important. So thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel, and I'll come up with a new series which will be related to programming and its methods, and what are the do's and don'ts when we enter programming. So keep watching. Thank you. Bye bye. Cheers.